I knew something horrendous was going to happen. I just knew it. I could feel it in my bones. And oh boy, did something horrendous happen. And it wasn't just because this was the finale. And it wasn't just because this was a finale in which, it's the third season finale. And the first season ended with a horrible Jericho's gone missing. And then season 2 ended with the up. Like, yay, we got Jericho back. And so I knew this would kind of be going down on the roller coaster again and end on a horrible, morbid moment. But the thing that really kind of clued me into something truly horrendous and horrific was going to happen was just the feeling of the episode. From the get-go, we get a totally different Dorothy. She's just super mellowed out, super kind of like just zoned out and spacey due to all the pills she's taking. But then there's that turn quite early on, and suddenly she's all happy and she's like, Leanne, Min, you were best friends, and yeah, it's gonna be, it's gonna take us a while to get back to that happy spot. But I'm trying. I don't trust you, Dorothy. I don't trust you for 1 second. And then Sean not trusting her either was heartbreaking. That moment where he's just sitting, drinking alone on the staircase. Just really intense stuff. The way this show has kind of built up to this moment of like Dorothy, like this is her final attempt, which we find out now will be her final attempt to run away with Jericho. She might still try and get away with Jericho, but she ain't running anymore. Horrific ending. Knowing that Dorothy absolutely wasn't going to change her mind, and that this is all a ploy, and they all kind of know a ploy is happening, and they're all like, oh, we gotta watch her. But I was still just kind of like, I don't know how this is going to play out. I don't know where they're going to kind of end this season, and I really thought we were building up to that moment where she was going to find out that Jericho died. I thought that was going to be the big, horrible, shock and awe kind of moment. And then the way the episode starts kind of building up, okay, maybe we're going to have the first scene is outside and 2 neighbors go, and the way they look over at the house is like, okay, they're implying they're cult leaders or cult members. They're implying they're going to do something sus. So I wondered if that was going to play a part and they were going to kidnap Jericho again. But I was like, that feels a bit kind of repetitive. So maybe they'll try and there'll be a big bloodbath of some sort. But I don't really see them killing any of the main characters because it's such a small cast. The moment that sealed the deal, which I absolutely love, but it sealed the deal of prepare yourselves for tragedy. Prepare yourself for something unbearably horrible about to happen, was when she's like, I cooked the food. Sean's the chef, but now I'm the master chef. Look at this, and we just got some glorious food porn shots. Just that breakfast he served her as well. I love that this show is still, 5-10% just food porn. Just love it so much. Such a good little kind of thing the show has. Just love it so much. And then when she's like, look at this wine, we're starting new beginnings. And Julian goes on this thing about his mum. He's like, we can't open that bottle of wine. And all this kind of stuff. Thought that was really fun. That really felt like that moment of like the peak happiness in a show when a show goes, it's all going to be perfect. And you're like, no, it's not. How dare you do this to me, show? How dare you make me have so much joy in my heart, knowing you're going to crush it and destroy it and make me feel so sad and angry? All right. Enough tiptoeing around the thing. We get up to the big climax of the episode, and it is so intense. When Dorothy is like, I'm out of here, and she's doing the thing, I'm like, okay, something is not, something's going to be off. What's going to happen? Is the person in the car going to be a cult member? And I'm just going through all these things in my head. And then suddenly there's that one shot where Leanne is there and she's grabbing and she's like, no, you can't go, and all this stuff. And you see Dorothy backing away from everyone. Everyone's like there. And then there's that just one shot where you see the rotting wood in the frame. That horrible sense of realization just kind of washed over my whole body. And just this awful, sickening feeling where I'm like, oh my God. She's gonna fall. It's gonna crumble. Of course, the first shot of the episode was just going through like the inside of the house and how rotten all the maggots or termites or whatever they are just eating in that filth. Oh, and we get Uncle! Before the horrible end scene, we get Uncle! His like surprise cameo of the season, and he's like almost throwing up from the smell of the rot from the house, even though he's always down the street. The way he was walking and just moving, so great to see Uncle back, even though everything he said and did in that whole scene was utterly terrifying. So what Uncle implies is that she is creating the rot, which I kind of presumed, but just that moment of being like, did she intentionally create the rot right at that moment to like fully fall through? It was just kind of coincidence. But yeah, Dorothy falls, and it's horrific. The way Leanne just kind of grabs the baby, no intention of grabbing Dorothy and trying to help her either, and she just falls. I was like, oh, they're going to cut with that slow-mo of her falling. We're not going to see what happens. And then she hits and hits and hits and hits, and it's like horrible. It's so intense, like so many times, and she hits so many things. Her body is twisted and contorted. She looks utterly destroyed. It's really intense. Presumably, she's going to be a quadriplegic now, and she won't be able to walk ever again, which means she won't be able to run away with Jericho. She's going to be stuck in the house with them, which is really setting up for a terrifying season 4. At first, I thought they'd killed her, and then I'm like, no, you can't kill her. She, as a character, needs to have that realization that she accidentally let Jericho die, like OG Jericho, and that all of this magic, crazy, witch, whatever the hell cult stuff is going on, and all the kind of things, that all needs to happen, so she definitely can't die. So at first, I was really horrified. I'm like, how dare they kill her? That's so horrible, in such a brutal way. And I'm like, I guess it makes sense Leanne's killed her and won, but I'm like, no. And you do see, she's still alive, like, just like, oh, horrible. Leanne has, like, broken her back, her arms, her legs, her body. She's destroyed her. But she hasn't killed her because she still needs to have that realization. The fact this isn't going to be the worst thing that's happened to Dorothy in the show is terrifying. It's just, I don't know. Leanne, like that shot of her just like holding the baby, looking down, just so awful. And you can hear Julian and Sean, they're screaming, they're horrified and all this stuff. I didn't hear a single scream or shriek from Leanne because she knows she's won. And she wanted to be friends and she's trying to play nice, but Dorothy wouldn't have any of it. And so the two women sparring, Leanne with her magical rotting powers of the horribleness, she's won. Horrendous. Just a horrendous way to end it. And of course, it's exactly how I predicted. Season 1 ends horrendously. Season 2 was like, yay! And now Season 3 is like, oh no! Like, so awful. Just like sitting there after just being like, oh. Another little thing I found kind of interesting was Sean being like, did you have anything to do with the death of Isabel? Which really made me question, like, how much does he know? Like, how much witch bizarreness does he kind of fall into or figured out? Or, I don't know, I'm just super curious still, like, kind of where him and Julian land with her. Because it's clear Dorothy has no idea about any of the magic, witchcrafty, just all that kind of stuff. How much does he really have an idea? Is he just skeptical? Because, you know, if he's not magic skeptical in some way, he'd have no thought that Leanne, like, had anything to do with Isabel. So, I don't know. It was kind of a really fascinating little kind of moment in there. It'll all be answered in a whole year's time. I love seasons, you know, I love a show going over a long time, you know, because you can savor the show. And I'll be super excited when it comes back. But it is so disappointing sometimes when a season finale ends and you're like, I want to see what happens next. I am just very impatient. Another amazing season. Had so much fun watching it, even though most of it is utterly terrifying and just really morbid and just like, oh, it's just so intense sometimes. Dorothy's psyche is so hard to watch sometimes. It's so scary. Leanne has turned into a crazy cult leader herself. That scene in the park where she's like, look at all my cult friends. I'm the leader of this cult. We love you. We love you. Terrifying. Super terrifying. I hate all that cult stuff. So scary. Just the way they'll just stand there. Just, oh boy. I mean, even though it's terrifying and scary and awful, I'm loving it so much. Kind of soaked in that final opening credits when we move through and come and see all the cult members standing out there. Cannot wait to see what's in store for the 4th season opening titles. Really excited. 4th and final season. Gonna be amazing. Gonna be utterly heartbreaking when Dorothy kind of has that realization. And now knowing she's all gonna be bandaged up and stuck in a wheelchair, presumably. I mean, I'd like to think that she's not going to be able to recover from that. Feels like it was a pretty bloody damn hard fall. Like, she hit so many of like the barricades on the way down. It was just truly disturbing. Like, really, they didn't hold back from being like twisting and contorting her and just, oh. My big swing for the fence theory for season 4 is that Dorothy is going to team up with Uncle, and there's going to be some kind of perverse team up versus Leanne, because now she's desperate, she can't do anything herself, so she's going to turn to Leanne's enemy in Uncle, and there's going to be some kind of magical witch showdown between them, and yeah, cannot wait. Or somehow Dorothy gets magical witch powers and they have a final witch off. But that kind of sounds silly now actually saying that out loud. So less of a swing for the fence because that is probably not going to happen. Thanks for watching, guys. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell and comment below. I'd love to know what everyone thought of this episode and the season in general. And I'd love to know people's thoughts and theories and speculation for the 4th and final season of Servant.